Happy almost New Year. But today we're going to get a lot of volume of cars and healthy movement. We'll go through some different variations to kind of manipulate the tension and intensity. And all we really need is a comfortable place to kneel on or lie down on. But it's helpful if you have probably something to hold on to. Tennis ball may be helpful, and a yoga block or something to sit on or lie down on. We're going to do some side lying stuff, so a little cushion for your head might be nice as well. We are going to start today with the wrists, so you can do that seated or kneeling. I like to sit on a yoga block like so. So for the wrist cars, and we're going to do this with a bunch of joints where we'll do kind of an easier version and then a harder version. So to start off, you can pick whichever arm you want, and we're going to do some wrist cars. So we're going to focus on just trying to move that wrist in a big circle without the forearm moving. So extend, rotate in, pull up, rotate out. And our goal initially is just going to be to easily move this. We're not trying to create too much tension here. There we go. Alright, so you're just waking up the wrist a little bit, getting it moving, and we will increase the intensity on our next set. So now I'm going to have you go the opposite direction. So same wrist, we're just switching. Cars can be very beneficial regardless of intensity. And it's nice to accumulate a large volume of them at low to moderate intensities, but then also get some bouts of higher tension and intensity. And I'll show you how to do that today. Alright. So if you're going with a flat palm, you may notice points where the fingers and hand want to get involved. Let's switch it up here. So you can shake that out if you want. That always feels good to me. And then we're going to switch to the other one. So same deal. Extend, rotate, pull up, rotate. And we're just trying to get a big range of motion, but keep it relatively easy in terms of effort. Yeah. For some joints, and especially side to side, you may notice that it's easier to keep it easy on one side than the other. Sometimes just trying to make it move is difficult. Let's switch directions now. There we go. Yeah. Nice. We'll get a couple more reps there. Okay, then you can relax that, and then if you have a ball, you can squeeze that. If not, that's fine. You can just make a fist. The idea is we just want to create some extra tension. Okay, so same deal as before. Only difference is we're creating more tension. We're going more slowly. So I'm only going to have you aim for maybe 3 reps each side or each direction. So extend, rotate, pull up, rotate. And you're just trying to keep a really nice tight squeeze the whole time. So the forearm is staying still. You're squeezing your hand, squeezing your fist as much as you can. Yep. And then switch directions. Okay, certainly going to cause a bit more fatigue than the way we started out. Squeeze. This also, though, may allow you to get into a little extra range of motion when you create more tension. There we go. and you can relax there. So if you've done some form of resistance training in the past, you know generally the heavier weight you lift, the fewer reps you can do. Similar thing. We're just, instead of using weights, we're creating internal tension. So now, other wrist, same deal. Nice tight squeeze. Try to maintain that. We're going to flex up, rotate in. You can go whichever direction you want. I think this is the other direction, but we'll go both. Work on keeping a tight squeeze. If you are gripping a ball or something, try to keep that grip the same. In order to help out your wrist, your fingers are going to try to like warp that grip. So I know for me, like my thumb is going to want to move. There we go. And you can switch directions here. Tight grip. Pull along in the biggest range you can. Very nice. And then you can relax. All right, that can be a little bit humbling. Very good for us. So now we got the wrist all prepared. We're going to go in a hands and knees quadruped position. So we're going to do some cat-cows, some spinal segmentation, and similar thing here. We're going to start off relatively easy with the intensity. So I want you to focus, like we did with the wrists, on getting a big range of motion, but keeping it low effort, low energy. So we're going to keep those shoulders pressed away, tuck the pelvis, and just round all the way up to the head and neck, then droop, extend. So we're still trying to be segmental with it, get each vertebrae involved, kind of move like a wave, but I don't want you to put too much effort into it yet. Rounding. And with each successive rep here, we're trying to get a little bit more range of motion, but still working at a lower intensity. All right. And again, one of the benefits of working with lower intensity is you can do a lot more. And it's easier to multitask. If you're listening to a podcast or if you're watching something, getting good at still getting big range of motion with lower intensity is really valuable. Now let's switch directions. I'm going to have you lead with the chin, tuck, round, work all the way down to the pelvis, look up, droop. Now this might naturally be a little bit more challenging, but it's good to try to do these challenging things and keep it lower energy. Here you go. So one thing you can do is, which we'll do with one of the things, is you can even put the clock on, like 3 or 4 minutes, and be like, oh, I'm just going to do some relatively easy reps and accumulate them for a few minutes. After you finish this rep, you can relax there for a moment. And then we are going to do some hip cars. So side-lying hip cars, and this is where our, if you have a cushion or a block, this will come in handy for your head. So I'm going to have us on our left side, and you can do this. Just active naps. All right, everybody does hip cars in their sleep. I'm pretty certain. All right, so I'm gonna demonstrate real quick here. So this bottom leg, I like to have it a little bit bent for stability. The top leg, we're gonna pull up, pry out, rotate, reach back and down, and then we're gonna push back, pry that knee and ankle up, and then that ankle is leading the way, knee comes down to the floor. Okay, and then we can repeat. So for this, same idea, I want it to be relatively low intensity. Now if you haven't done these before, it might still be challenging. And just given the position, it's going to take a little less energy than doing like standing hip cars. So sometimes we can just manipulate the intensity by changing body position. As we go, we're just trying to get gradually more and more range of motion. Yep, and keeping that left side pretty still. Nice. Wherever you are, let's go for one more repetition. You may find too that certain positions, regardless how they feel for other people, are easier or harder for you. So it's always helpful to kind of note which ones feel really good, where you're like, you know what, I could spend a lot of time here and get a lot of volume in. Let's switch up the sides. So we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, same deal. So you're going to be pulling this top knee up, prying out, rotate, reach back behind you and down, and then reverse, pry that knee and ankle up toward the armpit, ankle leads the way to the ground. All right, and we'll repeat. Good. And as you settle in, as you get used to the movement, you're trying to find that nice intersection of big range of motion, but relatively lower effort. Very nice. Sometimes it can help with stability if you take that top hand and press it into the floor. There we go. All right, we'll just go for one more rep here. Very nice. All right, and then you can relax there for a moment. Okay. And we're going to go back into our cat-cows, this time with a little bit more intensity, a little bit more focus, and fewer reps. So we'll get into our quadruped position. I'm going to have you press your shoulder blades away and keep them pressed away. And we're going to be extended through the spine. And now I want you to slowly, we're going to try to progressively contract all this stuff on the front side of our body to help round our spine. So you're going to start by tucking your pelvis and then really try to feel the abs working to round that spine, spreading slowly all the way up to your upper back and neck. Once you're there, rounded, I want you to try to push into more rounding. Squeeze into a little more rounding. Good. Now, untuck your pelvis, kicking your tailbone back and up. Slowly extend. Try to feel those muscles along your back and spine contracting to pull that spine into this nice extension all the way up to the head and neck. And we'll go one more time. Tuck the pelvis. Slowly round. You're still pressing away through the shoulders. Slowly rounding. Working your way all the way up. Everything's getting involved. And we're going to untuck one more time. Extend. Droop little by little. All the way to the head and neck. Once you're there, I want you to hold that and try to squeeze into A little more extension. Try to feel every part along your spine. And then you can relax. There we go. Even if you can't feel every part, that's your intent. You're trying to think like, you know, for me, I feel a little less certain parts in like the mid upper back, and I try to consciously like feel contraction there. So now, same deal, but we're going to lead with the chin. So we're just going to do 2 reps at higher intensity. This one, we really want to make sure we're not drooping through those shoulder blades. So we're pressing away. We're going to tuck the chin. Slowly round. Feel that stretch in the upper back. And those muscles on your front side are contracting to pull. Low back starting to round. And then tuck that pelvis, hold that flexion. All right, now the best part, maintain the hold with the abs as we start looking up. We're going to droop through the upper back. Slowly pull into the mid back. Feel those muscles working as we go toward the low back. Untuck the pelvis. All right, one more time. So, tuck, round, slowly spread to the mid back, upper back, all the way to the low back. Everything's rounded. You can hold that for a moment. Try to feel a stretch at every point. All right, then the head's coming up. Droop through that upper back. Feel the contraction on your back. Squeezing as you come down. Spreading slowly to the low back. Untuck the pelvis. Hold for a moment. And relax. Whew, nicely done. Again, our intensity is kind of along a continuum. First set was as lower intensity, next set was higher intensity. Certainly if you try to do all of them at high intensity, you probably just do less, because we don't always have the energy or the mental focus to do that. So it's great to have both in your repertoire, and everything in between. Now, best part of I don't want to sell the rest short, but it might be the best part of the day. We're going to do bridging hip cars. Some of you have done these before. I'm going to demonstrate really quick. So the way we do this is we cross. So I'll have you start with the left leg crossed, but again, watch first so you know what's going on. You're going to bridge through your right leg, lift your left leg off, pull up, pry out, rotate, reach that foot toward the floor, bridge up higher, lift, pull up, externally rotate, find your thigh with the ankle, pry open, and back down. Okay, we're going to do 2 of those with the left leg lifting. Then we'll take a little break, and then we'll do 2 with the right leg. Okay, so I'll walk you through the first one. You can take whatever break you need for the second one. Okay, so, and you can push through your arms. That's really going to help you with stability. I keep them at like a 45-degree angle to my side, pushing. So cross the left leg over, pry that knee out. Okay, push through the floor with your right leg and bridge up high. All right, we're going to try to lift the left leg off, holding that nice external rotation. Pull up toward your face. Then that knee comes high as you start prying that hip out toward the floor. Rotate to reach the ankle toward the floor. Find the floor with your foot. Pry those hips up. Drive through the arms. Lift the foot. Pull the knee up. As it comes up higher, that ankle is coming in towards that right thigh. Find the thigh, pry that knee open, and slowly come down. Whew. And that's 1 rep. So we certainly would not do like 10 reps of this. That's a little much. We are going to try one more like that. Okay? So, same deal. You're going to pry that left hip open. We're going to drive through the right leg, lift off, pull the knee high, pry out, rotate that thigh to reach the ankle and foot toward the floor, find the floor, press your hips up, lift off, pull the knee up, bring it across, ankle finds that right thigh, pry the knee, slowly come down. Fantastic. Those might not be too easy, and I don't expect them to be. So naturally that position is going to force us to create a lot more tension. It's going to be a bit harder for the whole body. So very fun, high intensity. So now, same deal, but this time the right leg's crossing and bridging. So left leg is down, right leg crossed over. Good. Pry that right knee out. Drive through the left hip to come up. Then we're going to lift off, pull the knee up high, pry out toward the floor, rotate internally, reaching the foot and ankle toward the floor, drive through the floor, push your hips up, whew, lift off, pull that knee up, rotate to come across, find the left thigh, pry that right hip open, and we're coming down. Wonderful. Take a moment. Okay, we get to do one more, and then no more of these for the rest of the day, unless you choose to do them on your own. So, right leg is on the left thigh. Pry that hip open. Drive up. Lift that right leg off. Pull up. Then start pulling out, 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 out. Rotate. Reach that foot and ankle toward the floor, and then drive through the floor to lift the hips. Lift off. Pull up. Knee high, and then it comes across, across, across. Find that left thigh with the right ankle. Pry the hip open. Drop down. And you can relax there. Whew. Well done. I don't take that effort for granted. That is not an easy one. So, the cool thing is the better you get at it, the more intense it becomes because you're able to get into a little bit more range of motion. Okay, so I'll give you a moment here. Next up, this one's going to be a little less energy intensive. We're going to do scapular cars, and we're going to alternate sides. So this, we're not going to go super high intensity. This is all going to be kind of moderate intensity. And you can do this standing if you would like to, if you're tired of the floor. But we're going to do arms at our side. Okay, and we're going to roll forward, shrug up, pinch back, and down, okay? And I'm just going to have you go one arm at a time. So you can start with whichever one you'd like. Roll forward, shrug up, pinch back, pull down, and repeat. All right, what I'm going to have you do is 4 reps this direction, and then 4 reps on the other side. And we're going to take a couple minutes, and you're just going to rotate through. Okay, so once you get 4 on the left, then you're going to go for 4 on the right. Same direction. Forward, up, back, down. Once you get 4 that way, you're going to switch back to the first arm and go the other direction. All right, so little bit of thinking involved here. All right, but the goal is we're taking a couple minutes here, and we're just getting as many reps as we can, as many good reps as we can, with each shoulder. And by not doing more than 4 reps at a time and keeping it kind of moderate, it's not going to get super intense, but whenever you need a little bit of a break, you get to switch arms. Here we go. So still trying to get a little bit more range of motion with each repetition. Think about keeping your elbow straight. Chest, sternum stays nice and still. So that movement is all coming from the shoulder blade. So this is also a nice strategy. Again, you can put yourself on the clock. You can alternate arms, alternate legs for some of your cars. And there's nothing perfect about, a certain number. So you can also go by feel. You can minimize the thinking and just sense your joints. Once you fatigue a little bit or feel like your reps are diminishing in quality, you can switch sides. Yeah. Here we go. And what often happens then is you'll end up doing more reps than you would otherwise, though it might not feel like it. Good. Just a couple more. If you're uneven at this point, you can switch up the arms. We're just going to go about 20 more seconds, and then you are good to go. Whew. All right, very nice. Then you can relax there. Cool. So we got those scaps having some fun here. Now we're going to get into the ankles. So for the ankles, what I'm going to have you do is you can either hold like this or go straight. For what we're doing, because we're doing more volume, what I like to do is prop my leg up on a block or a cushion or something, just so I don't have to hold it there. So this is kind of an easier position. That's easier to get more volume. So leg can be straight or bent, but we don't want the shin moving. And I'm going to have you point your toe, rotate inward, pull up, rotate out. These don't have to be super tough. We're just exploring the biggest range we can. Yeah. Nice big rotation there. Try to feel those lower leg muscles working in all directions. So for this, we're going to do a good amount, bit of volume here, which will be fun. So now I want you to switch directions. So same ankle. Notice if it feels different going one direction. Looking good. Pull that ankle around in a big circle. Notice where your toes might want to do more of the work instead of the ankle. Just like the fingers when you're moving the wrist. Now, same ankle. We're going to do plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. So I'm going to have you point your toe and pull your toes up toward your shin. Hold each endpoint for a second or so just to get a nice squeeze. So here you're squeezing all these tissues. As we point, we're squeezing the calf tissues on the back side of the leg. There we go. Nice. At this point, you might be feeling a little bit of burning. Good. So especially if you're used to doing cars fairly regularly, Adding intensity and or adding volume can be a great way to progress. Now, same ankle, we're going to do more cars. So, whichever direction you want to go, we're just going to do a few each direction. Still trying to get a big range of motion. They're going to feel a little harder than when we first started them. All right, switch directions. Focus on getting big range of motion despite the fatigue. Very nice. Last rep here, and you can relax. All right, very good. So, the leg, the ankle, foot might be feeling all that fun stuff. Cool, and great news, we have another one, so we're gonna do that. Okay, so same deal here. We're going to point, rotate, pull up, rotate. Nice big range of motion. Doesn't have to be extremely challenging right now, but we're still trying to get a little more range with each repetition. Nice. Looking good, trying to keep that shin nice and still and the thigh still. Let's switch directions. As a reminder too, with the cars and the joint movement, our joints are not very vascular. They don't get much blood flow unless they move. So movement is the only surefire way to get the nutrients in and out of our joints. There we go. So we're feeding them right now. Okay, now we're going to point and pull back. Point, that's plantar flexion. Pull back into dorsiflexion. Trying to really squeeze the muscles of the lower leg. Squeeze as we come back. Feel free to spend more time there if one position feels good or feels like it just needs a little more emphasis. Like for example, my right leg, when I point, it's a little harder for me to feel the contraction of these muscles. So I often hold it a little bit longer. I really want to feel the muscles working. Okay, now back to the ankle cars. Same ankle. It's our home stretch here for the ankles. Very nice. Yep. Nice big range of motion. Go ahead and switch directions, fighting through that fatigue a little bit. Nice. Last rep. And you can relax. Awesome. All right. Happy feet, happy ankles. Now we're going to switch gears. So we're going to go to some shoulder rotation. And this is another one where I'm going to have you on your side. So great position for getting a lot of reps in, and you're not really limited by anything except your shoulder. So we can go on our left side for this one. If you have a cushion or a block, you can certainly set that up. So your shoulder is going to be out here. You're going to have it bent. And I'll use the disclaimer. Please go as far as you can with your shoulder. My left shoulder in particular doesn't rotate a ton. One of the reasons I really like this position, it's a good position for internal rotation. It's also good for monitoring our shoulder here. So as we rotate, I want you to rotate back and forth. You're going to feel your arm rotating in the socket here, the humeral head. You don't want it to pop up or pop forward. You just want it to stay in position and rotate. So you can monitor it with your right arm. And you're going to feel that rotating. Okay, for most of you, you'll probably get more internal rotation toward the floor than me. So push into your max rotation there. And then external, you may be able to get to the floor and more. So you can feel free to push into the floor and even lift your elbow, which will put you in more external rotation. So you can go down, back. So I don't want this to be super intense, but we're just trying to get a lot of healthy rotation. With our joints, good healthy rotation is going to help all the other tissues around that joint function better. So we'll just get a couple more. So you can notice if your shoulder wants to come up or forward a little bit as you're doing this. You may notice differences side to side. Good. So if you like to lie down and like watch TV or anything, perfect position here. And you know your arm won't bother you. It's just like when you're driving a windshield wiper. You learn to tune it out. You can see the road fine. Let's go ahead and switch up the sides, and you can compare. So this is a good comparison for range of motion, and just for how it feels. So you're on your side. You're going to reach your arm out like so, and bend the elbow, and rotate. All right, we're going to keep it pain-free. You're going as far as you can each direction, but just monitor this humeral head, the head of your arm here, especially as it goes into internal rotation. It's going to want to pop up a little. There we go. Good. We'll get a few more. So this may not feel super intense, but that doesn't mean it's not valuable. And you can always increase the intensity by spending more time pushing into your end range. Pushing into your end range. Nice. All right, and you can relax there. Another benefit to a little bit more volume is that things might start to feel different. Once your joint gets used to moving a little bit for 30, 40, 50 seconds, you might start to feel more connection than you did before. Now we get to do our shoulders. Shoulder cars, I should say. So we're going to do alternating. So if you'd like to stand, you certainly can. Just to stay in your picture, I'm going to kneel, but I think standing is a good idea. We've been on the floor a lot. So what I'm going to have us do is we're going to alternate shoulder cars. Okay, we're going to take about 90 seconds total. So you're going to take your right hand behind your back. Okay, and you're going to do a shoulder car with your left shoulder. Then we'll put that behind the back, and we'll switch. Okay, so we're going to come across, up, rotate, reach back behind. Then you're going to reverse, rotate, cross, down, and then swap arms. And we'll come across with the right. All right, so you don't have to follow my tempo exactly. You can kind of go at your own pace. We're going for time, not reps. What you may notice, and what I definitely notice, is by proceeding this with all of those axial rotations, your shoulder cars might feel a little better than they normally do. A little easier to rotate at those endpoints. Good. And as a refresher, we want to rotate kind of as we hit our sticking points. We're externally rotated. As you max out that overhead position, you're going to internally rotate, turning back and away. And then as we kind of max out the extension, we're going to start externally rotating and continue as we go through the rest of the motion. Great. There we go. Yeah, we're staying nice and tall. You can even, with the arm behind your back, you can even push that into your back, if that feels okay, to get a little internal rotation isometric. Very fun. A little extra multitasking. All right, and we're on our last rep here, so you can finish that. If you want to be even and you're not, you can certainly do another one with the other arm. Extra reps are always allowed as long as they don't hurt. All right, now we're going to go back to the shoulders, and we're going to do some more rotations with a little bit of resistance. So if you have a block, you can use that to sit on. You can also just go like this. I prefer to be slightly elevated. And yeah, you can go however you want here, but we're going to go with our elbow up and supported. So whatever feels good there for you. It doesn't even have to be on your knee. It could be on a piece of furniture. But we're going to do some resisted rotation. So I'm going to have your arm down like this, and you're going to rotate like that. You're going to take this arm, I'm going to push into it, and I'm going to rotate and resist the whole way. So we're not going to do this for too long, but so with my right arm, I'm pushing down, I'm fighting it a little bit, not to an extreme, and then I'm pulling it back and resisting. So I'm getting resistance both ways, fighting against my left arm. All right? It doesn't have to be a lot of resistance. If you try to keep it kind of steady, you can do that. But you'll notice, even with just a little bit of resistance, after 2 or 3 reps, you'll start to feel a bit of a burning there going on. It does not take much. And that's a good sign. That's, this is a novel stimulus for your shoulder. Let's just go for one more rep, one more time up and down or down and up. So for these, you can really go by feel or time. Like for me, that was about it. If I went further, I wouldn't be able to get a full range of motion. It depends on what your strength there is. It also depends on how hard you were pulling. So let's go and switch. Okay, and the idea here is just that your arm is up on something so you don't have to hold it, so it's easier to rotate. It doesn't have to be the knee. So we're going to do the same thing. You can start wherever you want. We're using that other arm to pull against. So you're getting constant tension, constant resistance, but it's not limiting your range of motion. Yeah. So cars, rotations, wonderful tools, but adding resistance, adding tension is a great way to progress them. Got it. We'll get a couple more reps here. It's hard to measure, if you're using the same resistance from one side to the other. But still, you may notice differences in how quickly one shoulder fatigues. Last rep here. Whew. And interestingly, if one shoulder is more mobile, it might actually fatigue quicker because it has to control a larger range of motion. Now, shoulders again, or as if we weren't just doing shoulders, shoulder cars. So we're going to do double this time. So you can do kneeling, standing. We're going to go like so. We're going to go both at once. All right, I'm only gonna have you do 2 repetitions. We're gonna do them nice and slow, squeezing the fists. So go ahead and come across, up as high as you can go, elbows punched straight. Rotate internally, reach back behind you as far as you can go. Down towards your backside, reverse, fists toward the sky, rotate externally, reach up, 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 up. Let the arms cross in front of you and down. Shake it out a moment. We'll do one more. Squeeze tight, cross in front, reach up, rotate internally, reach way back behind, staying tall, come down toward your backside, reverse, rotate, 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 reach up, cross, pull down. Cool. Alrighty. Yeah, so that, at least the intensity I was doing at, and my intent for you, you're not going to be able to do more than 2 or 3 with really solid form without taking a break. Okay. Now we're going to go to the knees. So knees haven't gotten a lot of love yet today. And we're going to do some supine knee flexion and extension. This is another one of my go-tos for like lower energy knee work. So you're going to lie down, and we're just going to pull our knees up, extend, and flex. And you're keeping your knees just at a position at which you can extend them all the way. And then you can flex them all the way. Try to close this angle. Great. All right, and you can just squeeze for a second at each end point. Flexion and extension, it's that main movement of the knee. Of course, we have rotation as well. This is a great way to feed the knees. Get them that movement. There we go. Let's go one more rep there. And then you can relax. And we are going to do some seated tibial rotations. So for this one, you can sit on the floor. You can sit up on something if you'd like. I like to do this on a block. And I'm going to have you go both at once. So what I like to do is sit and kind of hold my thighs and also monitor the muscles underneath. And we're going to rotate and rotate. Okay, so having the hands here is nice because you can make sure your thighs aren't moving, but you can also feel the muscles working in your thighs to move those shins. So this is an efficient way to get a lot of reps in. You can also relax the feet if you're able to, and still try to turn the shins. That tends to be a little tougher. Yeah. And remember, as we're doing all this stuff, things that are easy or difficult for me might not be the same for you. So it's helpful to come up with your own easy, low effort options and harder options. If these are tough for you, then sometimes it's also beneficial just to do one at a time. And we can relax there. Now we're going to just do a couple reps. I'm not going to give you too many. Standing knee flexion and extension. So another nice clear example of how position can change the challenge of some of the joint movement. So I'm going to have you pull your knee up as high as you can, extend, pull back. You don't have to extend it all the way. We're going to only do 4 reps, hold for a second or two at the top. Okay, so you're going to pull up as high as you can, extend, pull back. Okay, going for 4. Each rep, you might be able to pull that knee just a little higher without losing your chest and head height. All right, so you feel very different things. Certainly not going to be able to just crank out 20 reps the way you could lying on the floor. Whew, shake it out a moment. Okay, we get to do the other one. All right, so up, extend, bring it back. Each time you're trying to pull the knee higher without losing the height in your chest. 4 reps. There we go. And you can take a moment there. We are going to next do some elbows. So, we're going to do a little rotation and full elbow cars as well. So, standing, we're going to have our arms here. And I'm going to have you start by just rotating the elbow and the forearm. So biceps do not turn, but you're folding your palms over, folding them back, rotating that forearm, rotating that elbow as much as you can. Good. Now, palms are open like so. We're going to pull up and squeeze as much as you can. Hold that squeeze. You're going to fold over, fold back. Fold over, fold back. Just like that. And then you're going to turn your palms toward me or toward your camera, and then you're going to push down. Don't let your upper arms move. Rotate, pull up, rotate, push down. Rotate, pull up, rotate, push down. Then top of the hands are coming up like so. Pull, rotate, extend, rotate. Pull up, rotate, down, and rotate, and you can shake those out. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we're going to come back to those, but first we get to do a little bit with the toes as well. So if you have a block or a ball, you can put that between the feet, like so. So if you have it especially kind of between like the ankles, so they can't cave in or go out, I'm going to have us start with big toe lifts. So you're going to try to lift just your big toes and then back down. All right, big toes. And you're going to try to keep contact with whatever is between your feet, if you have something. So that's going to prevent you from rolling out. So we're just trying to contract those muscles on the top of our feet to lift the big toe. Great. Okay, now big toe stays down, and we're going to lift the lateral toes. Or try to. All right, so tendency is for the feet to cave inward. The block is not going to let that happen. But you can also focus on trying not to add extra pressure inward as you try to lift those lateral toes. Nice. Good, just a couple more here. If you're able to do that, you can try to lift and splay them out. And then relax. Alrighty. Now we are back to the elbows. Okay, there's a number of ways we can increase the intensity of elbow cars. You can hold weights, you can hold a ball and squeeze. What we're going to do is change our shoulder position. So we're going to do elbow cars in shoulder extension. So it'll look like this. I'm going to have you pull palms up like so. Elbows go back and up. You're going to rotate, press away, rotate, pull in. And I'm going to try to keep my head and chest up rather than tipping. Okay, so you're going to rotate your palms down, press the palms away and up, rotate, pull those palms into your armpit, elbows stay high. Rotate, press away, rotate, pull in. Rotate, press away as high as you can, rotate, pull in. 2 more reps, so this time we're going to push the back of the hands back and up. Back, rotate, pull in, rotate. Extend back, rotate, pull in, rotate, and relax. Awesome. So if you're really working on keeping that end range shoulder position, it makes your shoulders and your elbows work a lot harder. Our finale, grand finale today, we're going to work on those toes again. So here, we're going to go back to the block, and this time we're going to alternate. Okay, so we're going to go big toes up, put them down, lateral toes up, put them down, and we're going to alternate indefinitely. We're just going to do it forever. It's going to be great. So here, big toes, lateral toes. We're going to alternate back and forth. You can take a little time for each one. Trying to get big range of motion, but not allowing your feet to rest too much. There we go. Looking good. We're going to go about 30 more seconds. Still trying to get big range of motion. Pull the toes up as much as you can. There we go. I get asked a lot about cramps in the feet. And while that can be indicative of some systemic stuff, potentially hydration or electrolytes, it could also be foot conditioning. It could be footwear. It could be a lot of things. But if you really condition your feet to withstand fatigue and move really well, that may help. 3, 2, 1, relax. So yeah, pushing into that fatigue on a semi-regular basis can definitely help condition those feet and other joints. So, you are all done. You made it. Great work today. Yeah, thank you all for joining on New Year's Eve day.
Thanks, Brian.